Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a look at this very cool Pteranodon figure. And this Pteranodon, as you can see up here in the wing, it does say JP3 on it. This Pteranodon is actually part of the Hasbro Jurassic Park Dinosaurs line. I think this would have been Series 2 of that line, but I'm not 100% positive. I know that it is a repaint of the Alpha Pteranodon from Jurassic Park 3. And I've been actually kind of promoting the Jurassic Park 3 Pteranodons for a while. Every time I have like a Mattel Pteranodon review or something, I might occasionally mention how good the JP3 Pteranodon figures were. Well, this again is an example of how good the sculpt and everything is. Of course, this one isn't exactly a JP3 Pteranodon because it wasn't released with the initial line. Even though it does say JP3, it was released later on with the Jurassic Park Dinosaurs line. But regardless, you'll have a really good idea looking at how beautiful this figure is of just how good the JP3 Pteranodon figures were. So let's go ahead and get a closer look right now. So taking a look up here at the head sculpt, you can see just how incredible the amount of detailing in the head sculpt of this Pteranodon truly is. And again, just showing how impressive these Hasbro Jurassic Park 3 Pteranodons were. You can really see that the sculpt is a beautiful representation of the Pteranodon that we actually saw in the Jurassic Park 3 film. The paint, of course, does not match up with it at all, but I think it's still a really cool paint scheme regardless, and a really nice, very realistic looking paint scheme on this. Looking at the beak, you can see lots of really nice cracks and crevices throughout the beak as far as the detail goes. Same on the underside here. Really incredible skin movement shown right there. I love the way it's very nicely wrinkled and everything in that area. It looks super realistic. I just absolutely love that. The detailing around the eye is also incredibly well done. The detail right there in the eye socket. Look at how beautiful that is. As we run up along the crest of the Pteranodon, you can as well see really nice detailing all throughout that area. And again, the paint application is quite nice. I love that for the most part it's just like this one solid color, and then they have all these other colors kind of littering throughout, and it's really nicely painted in a very realistic fashion, clearly airbrushed on. And it all looks incredibly realistic the way it's applied to it, very natural looking. And then I love once we get up here to the crest how it has like this lighter coloration. It's like a light creamy color to give the crest a little bit of a flashy color scheme, and then it kind of mixes in here with this like maroonish color that runs throughout. And then you have like that same maroon, or actually maybe that's more like a red, that borders around the eye with a yellow eye and a black pupil. So lots of paint application provided on this Pteranodon right here, specifically in the head. And honestly, I think as far as the paintwork goes, the Pteranodons here from the Hasbro line were some of the best that we've ever seen in any Jurassic Park line. If we open the mouth, it's of course going to yell at me, but you can see the tongue is present in there. Really nicely painted with like a pinkish coloration, and then you can see the upper side of the inside of the mouth. Nice detailing in there. One interesting aspect to this Pteranodon is, unlike the Mattel versions, there are no teeth, as this is a more realistic interpretation, I guess you could say, of Pteranodon as far as that goes. The Mattel ones include teeth, even though Pteranodon did not actually have teeth. As we start to run down the neck, again, the sculpt and detail is fantastic as far as that skin texture. You come down here into the shoulder area. We'll go ahead and get a shot from the top, and you can really see now how beautiful that skin detail is. Really incredible. As you turn over to this side, you've got a little battle damage there, which actually has a button, which you can now hear some of the noises that this Pteranodon does make. You can also kind of take note to the spinal column of the Pteranodon as it runs down the length of the body, even sort of like the shoulder blades and everything right there. And look at the paintwork again, it's all so nice. It doesn't really seem to follow any specific like path or anything. It's just kind of all over the place, and it's really realistic the way they've applied it. And then as we run out the wing, you can again see the same thing where it's really nice, kind of like lightly airbrushed on tones of like this maroon color, and then you have some of the same creamy color you saw up on the crest of the Pteranodon. But the skin texture once again is incredible as we move out the length of the wing. Really nice hand sculpt up here as well. The nails actually don't appear to have any paint or anything on them, which is a little shocking with a figure that includes so much paint, but you can see as we move out the entire length of the wing is as detailed as it could possibly get. Really beautiful sculpt and paint on the wings of this Pteranodon. As we move down here into the legs, again, really nice skin detail, even down here going down into the tail, and you can see kind of like the spinal column leading down to the tail. Really nice skin detail on this leg as well. Even within the skin flap here that's kind of hanging off of the leg, it looks beautiful. The underside of the feet are really nicely detailed. Look at how beautiful that is. Again, I really have stressed for so long how incredible these JP3 Pteranodon figures are, and this one is just as incredible as the rest. Actually, this might be my favorite, I think, potentially. Again, looking at this wing, I was about to flip it over, but I forgot that I did not show you this wing. Same deal as far as the sculpt and paint, but it looks really, really good. The only thing I think that maybe doesn't look super realistic is kind of this splattered paint effect that they do here at the bottom of the wing. Looks a little thick as far as the paint goes. Same deal over here, but it's just not as natural looking as the beautifully airbrushed on maroon colors, but it's still not bad either. This Pteranodon is actually quite large, so he's a little hard to move around in here. But you can see the underside of the Pteranodon also sports some really nice detailing as far as the skin texture goes. Beautiful detailing here on the underside of the leg. The Pteranodon just does not want to stop making its noise. And that is probably one of the more aggravating aspects of this figure, is that it never shuts up. Kinda like me, I guess. But you can see even the bone structure and musculature of the legs here at the bottom of the Pteranodon, and the upper side of the toes looks incredible. Really nice scoot-like appearance down the toes. Really fantastic, fantastic sculpt on the part of Hasbro. You can see quite a few screw holes here on the underneath, which is definitely a bit of a downside. But honestly, as far as the downsides go, that's probably the only one I could think of. Maybe the constant noises, but other than that, I think it's really beautiful. You can see even the detailing here of the arm within the wing looks absolutely incredible. All the skin detail looks fantastic here on the actual wing flap, the skin flap of the wing. Again, that paint's a little too thick, but I don't really think it takes away from the figure or anything. Same beautiful detailing and paint application over here on this side of the Pteranodon. Really, really wonderful overall. I absolutely am in love with this Pteranodon. In every area that I look, it is just incredibly well sculpted, incredibly well painted, and actually incredibly large. As far as a Pteranodon figure goes, I actually think it's bigger than the Mattel one, which is definitely impressive, as their Pteranodons were quite large. But really fantastic in every possible way. Very few downsides, plenty of upsides. So let's go ahead and get a size on this Pteranodon. So standing the Pteranodon up, and then I think for the initial measurement we'll probably go for a wingspan, as it has a very large wingspan. So from one wing, when it's comfortably spread out, maneuver it right there a little bit, to the other wing when I would say it's roughly at a comfortable length, you're looking at about 23 inches or 58.5 centimeters, and now I knocked it over, but 58.5 centimeters, that is an incredibly large wingspan. Once again, still making the noise. That is probably, like I said, one of the more obnoxious features of the Pteranodon. It's not a bad thing because it does have some really nice noises, but the fact that it continuously goes off all the time, every time you move the Pteranodon, is a little bit of a pain. And then as far as a height goes, to the tip of the beak, you are looking at about 10.25 inches or about 26 centimeters, somewhere in that range. So overall, large in every possible way. As far as articulation goes on our Pteranodon, you've got the articulation of the legs here, of course the wings, which work quite nicely. You have articulation right here in the middle of the wing. You also have, if I can maneuver it around, some articulation there in the neck. Oh my god, it just does not stop. And then the articulation in the mouth, which is going to continue to make this Pteranodon go crazy. And of course you can hear the noises, so it does have the sound feature, and then you can also push this button to flap the wings, and you're going to hear the noise of that as well. And then you have this little battle damage area, which is really nicely sculpted and painted as well, which you can make even more Pteranodon noises. So as far as the sound goes, it is absolutely loaded to the max with sound. I love that they actually include the noise for the wings flapping, which is really cool, especially from a playability standpoint. If I were a child and had this, I would absolutely love it. Although when it was sitting over there making its Pteranodon noises all night while I was sleeping, I'd probably be a little upset. But regardless, for a size comparison, There is the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon from the Jurassic World Mattel toy line, and Mr. Papo T-Rex next to this Pteranodon, really helping to give you a good idea of the sheer monstrous size of this Pteranodon. It is definitely a very sizable figure, really, really large, and to help give you another idea of that, there is a Mattel Pteranodon in front of this Hasbro JP3 Pteranodon, and you can really see now just how much larger the older Hasbro version is, and it's just incredibly impressive to me. Honestly, if I had to pick, I would say the Hasbro one is better than the Mattel one, and that is an impressive statement to be able to make because so many people sour on the Hasbro line, but honestly, I think the JP3 line and the Jurassic Park Dinosaurs line that followed were really, really heavily underrated and impressively well done, and this is kind of an instance of that. Even the sculpt, honestly, I think the Mattel one might be a little bit more accurate, but the Hasbro one might be a little bit more nicely detailed, but either way, both fantastic figures, but hopefully if you have the Mattel version, you'll have an idea now of the size of this incredible Hasbro version. So this Hasbro JP3 Jurassic Park Dinosaurs line Pteranodon is fantastic. I absolutely love this. I bought it in a lot of other figures a while back, and it was kind of the reason I bought the entire lot to begin with, was just because I saw that this Pteranodon was included, and I didn't have any of the JP3 Pteranodons, I think, at that point in time, so I was really interested to see one in person. So when I got the lot, this was the first figure I pulled out, and I was blown away, completely impressed in every possible way by just how beautiful this Jurassic Park 3 Pteranodon truly is. You can see in every area, this thing is absolutely sculpted to the max as far as the skin detail, the movement being shown, and just every little ounce of detail you would expect to find on this figure. It is all incredibly well sculpted out, and they just did a bang-up job on the sculpt of this Pteranodon, and it really does look very, very similar to the JP3 Pteranodon, so as far as accuracy goes, they definitely did a great job in that aspect as well. The thing that I think I love the most is the fact that it's so cool as far as the paint goes. The paint is really, really realistically done, potentially some of the most realistic looking paint schemes as far as the way it's applied that I've seen on any Jurassic Park figure ever. The paint application with the way they've really nicely airbrushed so many different variations of colors, even including like a light creamy color up there on the spinal column. There's just so much paint work that has been included in this, and it's so beautifully applied and so naturally applied. It really makes the entire thing look very realistic. Honestly, I don't feel like we've had paint jobs as good as some of these Hasbro Jurassic Park Dinosaurs and Jurassic Park 3 figures in a long time, because some of them were just absolutely loaded with paint, and that's kind of the case with this one. It's really nicely painted, lots of different tones of color included, and it's all really naturally applied, so it looks extremely impressive in hand. The size is also extremely impressive as it's very large, as I had just shown you guys. So on top of having beautiful sculpt and beautiful paint, you have an overall impressive size to the Pteranodon as well. And then you also have some really nice articulation and some beautiful noises that are included with the Pteranodon. It's really cool that you can have numerous different noises coming from different areas of the Pteranodon, even including the noise of the wings flapping. So they really did go the extra mile as far as the sound department as well as articulation, paint, and sculpt. So this Pteranodon from the Hasbro Jurassic Park Dinosaurs line is absolutely awesome in every way, and if you get a chance to pick this up and you are a fan of the Jurassic Park line, I highly recommend that you do just that. So I will do my best to try to find you a link on eBay somewhere to pick this up, but I've been having a hard time actually locating one on eBay, so I may not be able to find one. But if you do happen to find one, make sure you pick it up. Otherwise, check the description, as I may have a link there. I'm just not too sure at this point. But regardless, a fantastic figure. Again, pick it up if you can, and also make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.